Okay, all right, okay. Madam City Clerk, could you call the roll? And
A quorum is present.
folks, there's a lot of us in here right now, so we really can't whisper because it makes too much noise. Before we start, we have a commendation honoring Miss Alicia Littleton in recognition of outstanding and dedicated service to the City of Inglewood. Miss Littleton, could you come forward? This is a special commendation presented to Alicia Littleton in recognition of your outstanding and dedicated service to the City of Inglewood. Whereas Alicia Littleton began her career with the City of Inglewood in 1981 as a cultural dance instructor, she taught combination dance instruction to students enrolled in the city's after-school and summer camp programs. And whereas Alicia Littleton developed such a love and compassion for teaching that she began offering additional classes including tap, ballet, hip-hop, and modern dance instruction at various parks and recreation facilities. And whereas Alicia Littleton founded the Fantasia Dance Ensemble, a multicultural team of performers, where she strives to teach and encourage her students to not only excel in the art of dance, but to develop confidence, leadership, and unity in the community. And whereas Alicia Littleton has shown her dedication to the Park, Recreation, and Library Services Department by contributing many extra long hours of volunteer service, supporting cultural activities and programs, summer day camp open houses, and various citywide special events. And whereas Alicia Littleton has made a tremendous contribution, has been a true asset to the City of Inglewood. Her distinguished career spans more than 31 years of dedicated service to countless Inglewood youth and families, who are like 32. And now therefore be it known that the Mayor and Council members of the City of Inglewood, California, do hereby recognize Alicia Littleton for her many years of tireless service to the city.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, one moment, please.
One moment, please. I'd just like to say this. Miss Alicia, I'd like to thank you as a parent. My children are enrolled in your class, as you know. And I'd just like for the residents of Inglewood to know that we have people in this city, such as Miss Alicia, who give of their time. And we also have a lady by the name of Miss Betty. Is Miss Betty here tonight? Where's Miss Betty at? And people such as Miss Betty. And Miss Betty, she also does things for the children as well as the other parents by giving. I'll tell you how I came very familiar with what an effort they do. There was a parade in the city of Lawndale, and in the city of Lawndale they have a parade. One day we're going to have one here too. But they have a parade, and Miss Alicia walked on foot, and she has children as young as my youngest one here that is 5 years old, and up to as old as my oldest one that's 12. And she's walking and she's talking and she gives them tops to wear so that they're uniformed, so that they're in tune with everyone else. And the effort that the parents and Miss Alicia put into that made me realize, my goodness, for very little, I mean nothing for doing that, the effort that is put into that is just, to me, just mind-blowing. They marched, the children received so much from that. My daughter Olivia, she received a tremendous amount of confidence from doing that. And the children, you should see their faces, how they just light up as they were walking amongst these other children. So I just want to thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, for taking the time to recognize Miss Alicia.
Okay,
thank you.
Would you like to take your initiative out of order while all the people are here?
Well, thank you, sir. I would like to do that.
Well, go right ahead.
Well, colleagues, in stating that of what Miss Alicia does, don't leave yet, Miss Alicia. I would like to ask you, if, you know, I'm new to the council, but I know that...
But hold on one second.
Oh,
Ms. Horton, would you read the initiative?
Excuse me.
CI2. I can't hear you.
Oh, CI2.
Oh, the initiative, council initiative.
Second one.
CI2 is initiative by council member Stevens pertaining to adding dance mirrors to one wall in the EAT basement room.
East, I guess.
Oh, it says EAT on here. That's not
Right.
right. Wow.
I have to speak with
Gonna be
my
eating
assistant.
mirrors. In the east basement
I
room
don't think
of
he did that.
Veterans Building.
I'll move pertaining to the memo written by Mr. Stevens that the staff be directed to purchase and install those mirrors.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, let's let the council. That's fine. All
right.
in favor? That's good.
All right. All right, now.
I would just like to say to the residents of this city, we have so many amenities in the city, and we just need people to come to our Public Works Department and learn about the fantastic dance classes we held here in the city of Inglewood. It's that we do not know what our city has to offer.
Right.
And so, colleagues, I cannot thank you enough. The residents thank you. And I know that you're 100% behind this in reference to having just the mirrors so that these children can look at themselves and practice their dance moves and their pirouettes and the different moves that they do, which actually instills confidence. And I just want to say to the residents of this city, your city cares. And even though it is a budgetary crisis right now, I want you to know that we all care about our children and we care about you.
Okay.
So, colleagues, thank you so much for your support.
Thank you, Councilman Stevens. Okay, we're going to go to public comment. Any persons wishing to address City Council on any item on today's agenda may do so at this time. But I'd like to Mr. Sanders from SEIU 721 to come forward because he has a lot of people in the audience that will probably leave after this presentation. What's that? And item number 5 is pulled.
Item number 5.
Thank you, Councilman.
Good afternoon, Council. Good evening, Council. My name is David Sanders. I'm the Regional Director of SEIU Local 721. We represent about 85,000 members in the LA City area, in the LA County area. I'll wait for a second. I'll
Point it out.
Okay. I didn't mean to push him out. That wasn't my intent.
Miss Alicia's people, you do not have to leave. You can stay.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Sanders. Could we please hold it down, folks?
So I'm here to speak tonight in unison and unity with city employees, residents of Inglewood, employees of the city of Inglewood. We've been discussing the last couple of weeks the city's financial situation. We've received copies of the projected budget, the 5-year projected budget. We have as much concern about it as you all do. We understand the numbers, we understand the mathematics of it, but we also understand that, and I hope that you all understand that, as in the past, we'd also like to continue to be partners in helping solving the problems of Inglewood, helping work along with you on the budget deficits, the structural problems in Inglewood's finances, and we also like to be partners with you. We come up with solutions on this. The employees in the back of the room, they have ideas, they have proposals of efficiencies. They also know how to best work the city of Inglewood. They also know how to best serve the community of Inglewood. They also know how that service will be impacted because of the deficits, because of the financial situation in Inglewood. And again, we'd like to be partners with the council, with this city, in helping bring solutions to fix this problem. What we are mindful of and what we don't want to happen is the budget to be balanced on the back of these workers. And we've seen what's been projected. We've seen it again. We've read the report that's put out, and all we've seen is a default position of contract out. We've seen a default position of layoffs. We've seen a default position of concessions back on the backs of the workers. We have a better way. We have a better alternative plan. We have been in discussion. We met with the mayor. We met with a couple of council people, and with the mayor's support and help, he's allowed us to meet with them, and he's allowed us to bring forth these ideas. I presented copies to you all at the podium there. We'd like you to give serious consideration what we put out there. And one particular thing we talked about on there was, in the city of Inglewood, I think with us, you all were one of the first municipalities to negotiate a blight ordinance. We understand there's been a problem with the enforcement of the blight ordinance. What we put out there before you is what we've done on our own analysis, our own research, to estimate about the number of houses, immediate houses that we know that are bank-owned foreclosures that have got blight to the community. We projected if in fact we enforce the blight ordinance in the city of Inglewood, and this is not a hyperbole in terms of numbers. We compared what we've done in the Valley area, we've done other cities. There's a potential for $2.4 million in just the enforcement side of this. We believe that's a real number. It's not, again, it's not a hype. We like the city to consider those, and we want to work with the city, and again, the mayor's agreed to work with us to find those alternatives of layoffs. And again, I wanted to share the information with you all tonight. Please review it. And again, if the alternative is to lay people off, if the alternative is to withhold services to the community, if the alternative is to gut the infrastructure in the city of Inglewood, we absolutely know we have a better plan. We have an alternative plan that will work best for the city of Inglewood and the workers and you all, and we hope that you all will seriously consider it, and we'll continue our discussion with you all, and again, the rest of the workers in the city of Inglewood.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders.
Thank you. I have another couple of people that want to speak if I can come into order. I'd like 2 people. At least let me introduce you to our vice president.
Please come forward.
Hi, my name is Linda Dent. I'm the vice president of SEIU 721. I represent 85,000 members. I'm an LA County worker for 35 years. I've been down this road a lot of times. I've been down this road, and I'm going down it right now. But what we have realized, and the Board of Supervisors, our 5 Board of Supervisors, what they realize is that if you listen to the workers, they'll tell you how you can save money, because we are the ones that's right there in the crunches making things happen. We're moving the paper. We're making the people pay. And I understand that we're here to help you to bring money into Inglewood. We have a ballot that's on the initiative right now dealing with the millionaire taxes. If we can get that passed and bring money into California, then we have money, and it won't be anyone getting laid off or people can't put foods on their table. And the key thing is that we have to vote President Obama back in order to make this country move forward. And anybody in this room that don't believe that, then they need to step outside. But the key thing is that we're trying to make sure that we keep Inglewood functioning and people on their jobs. We cannot lose our jobs, and you cannot balance the budget on the back of the people that work for Inglewood. It is not going to happen. If you work with us and listen to us, then we can move things. You have things where you have fees that you can collect. You have houses that are in foreclosure. You have banks that don't pay their fair share. We need to get in their face, and you guys should be with us, telling them they need to pay their fair share. So we're here to help you find money to keep people on their jobs, food on the table, schools open, and kids getting educated so they can move forward and be in the seats that you are sitting in. Thank you.
Okay. You know, I'm sorry, but see, we took you out of order. But we can only talk about the agenda from now on. So if you want to stay till the back of the public comment, we could, but we did that as a courtesy because so many people waited. But this is the time now for anyone who wants to speak on any item on today's agenda, except for item 5, which has been pulled. Please come forward.
60 seconds,
Sir, I've already taken you out of order for 2 speakers.
Hello, my name is Richard Boji. I'm a general contractor and accountant too. And my problem is I have a client is stuck into the policies that you set.
Which items are you talking on, sir?
It is the monetarium that you set us for repair shops.
Okay, sir, right now this is public comment for any item on the agenda. Okay. If you're going to talk about something other than what's on the agenda.
No, they told me I was advised that I would come in and express myself.
I know, of course you can, but you can, sir, you can do it at the end of the meeting. Right now, this is the time for people talking about what's on the agenda. Okay. Anybody want to speak on the agenda?
Roy Fisher, the 1st District. Good evening to you all and to the members of the public who are residents of this community. First off, I was talking to our librarian before the meeting started, and she was telling me there's an part of the agenda here, and I'm not sure which one it is, but it has to do with them losing a lot of property from the library, and she's here, and I guess you all know that they would like to come with a plan to try to recoup some of those things by having certain fines imposed on people. I'm all for that. And as these people were talking about, finding ways to make money for the city or to save the city from losing items from the library, I would hold to that. With regard to, well, that's a public hearing item that I will hold my voice on until that time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gil Matthew, District 4, Mayor and City Council. On payment of the bills. Now, you have an item for a Sidney Allen, $8,000, and the payment is for professional services. Now, what services? The check number is 519327. I think it would be helpful if you would have documentation or something for clarity other than just professional services. In the way it's going now, what services rendered, no contract, I'd like for you to explain that. Next, I might remind you, your legal services compared to other cities, you're already in the hole for about $3 million, and this is only the third quarter. So with your litigation, you may put a check on it because it's a bit excessive. Now again, you had, on the meeting, it was $14,000 given to this unnamed organization without council's approval for $14,000. You never said who the organization is. All you said was they paid back 12. What happened to the other 2? Now again, the red flex. Everybody knows it's controversial. Now you have a check 519437 for $89,400. I would suggest to you, since you're not shy about litigation, is to breach the contract. There's other cities that has done that, and the courts have said it's unenforceable. Now, why would you just give Red Flags $89,400 of general fund money without litigation? You breach. That's the way it works. Now, it's highway robbery anyway. Now, item number 6. You have another situation where you approve consultation costs approved by the successor agency. Or is that paid by the successor agency or the general funds on item number 6? And again, I might tell you in passing that court enforcement should be reinstated. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Matthew. Any other public comment?
Good evening, council members. You have a very large staff report out there with regard to the Hollywood Park project. And I got to tell you, one of the things that frightens me about that Hollywood Park project, so when I called San Mateo this week, they had received plans for 62 units. Total, 62. San Mateo, Bay Meadows project. Now, if you look at the Chamber of Commerce directory, it is presented as this is the wonderful project up there that has completed properties that are just gang-busting with business. Since those businesses do not yet exist, and those residents do not either, I don't know. It seems kind of misrepresentational to me. And if the truthfulness of what they're doing up there, both from the newspaper and their planning department, is the strength on what you are basing any of your decisions with regard to the owners, then I'd venture to say this community's up a creek without a paddle. You all have done everything that you possibly can to please Hollywood Park tomorrow at the expense of the residents of this community. The forgiven loan is not genuinely a loan. There isn't a single person here who would loan the neighbor across the street their car and not expect it back. That would be a gift. And for you to continually misrepresent it as a forgiven loan is, in fact, kind of doing a smoke and mirrors option that most of us don't appreciate. So I would hope that as you make this presentation, you actually try to protect the residents of this community rather than your personal benefactors. Some of you have received some significant campaign contributions from either the principals of that organization or that organization itself. Anyone with 5 Embarcadero, however you say it, street address is Hollywood Park tomorrow. So I expect you to do that which is right for the residents of this community, not that which is pleasing to your political careers. Because you know what? I think there's a few places where you can look at the election results of last Tuesday and find out that may not have been your best path. With regard to Madison Square Gardens, once again, give me a break. I'm sorry, I got those two a little bit goofied up, didn't I? Both one and the same? No, not really, but pretty much the same, aren't they? Gift, gift, and gift. At the expense of residents, residents, residents. Did everybody get your nice little notice about your water bill going up? That nice little red flex thing? And oh, so many other taxes we pay. Other residents never have to.
Mr. Mayor, can I talk about the minutes?
Yes, you can.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, Council, my name is Joseph Texera, and I'm again asking that no more meeting minutes be approved until the questionable and possibly illegal way that the clerk's office documents the official minutes. Until that's corrected. I've previously described numerous problems with the way the clerk's office documented the official minutes, including blatant inaccuracy, bias, and actual censorship. So tonight, I again urge the council not to approve the minutes for May 22nd because item number 127 of the minutes uses a completely fabricated statement attributed to the mayor that gives the impression that I was in some way at fault for complaining about, or I in some way acted appropriately in asking about the IPD misconduct that I have described. Now, a week or two ago, I told the council that the clerk had never documented in any of the minutes any of the 4 of the mayors or Seabrooks or Captain Sissek's previously staged attempts to defend themselves and IPD against my complaints at these meetings. And I had doubts that the mayor's so-called apology to me on May 22nd would be documented. And maybe that's the reason why in the minutes for May 22nd, that so-called apology was documented for the very first time out of all the other events. So that's good. However, in the 66 words used to document the mayor's statements, about 40% of them describe the mayor saying that I was in fault in some way for asking about the IPD misconduct that I've described. The minutes say, quote, Mayor Butts also indicated disappointment in the way Mr. Texera inquired about the service he received that was handled by staff and the police department, unquote. I've seen the DVD, I've made a transcript, and that's a lie, and I want it changed.
Thank you, Mr. Texera.
Mayor Butts, it's a pleasure to see you again with the outstanding members that you have in your management team and this outstanding city council. As you know, I recently sent you a letter because I'm deeply concerned.
Is this going to be on an agenda item right now, or is this?
No, it's just public comment.
Okay, you have to come at the end of the meeting. That's general public comment.
I'm sorry.
Please
excuse me.
Thank you.
I apologize.
The start was great, though.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Michael Bendorf, 1st District. Here to comment on Finance 1, and I'm in support of that, and just want to make a statement on that. And I think it's number 6 on community and economic development, I think it is. In support of that also.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I just want to make it clear that we are on the threshold of rebuilding some entities in this city, which was going to create some money in this city, and I'm encouraging the council, the mayor and staff also, to promote these projects as soon as possible. We need the work, we need the crowds, we need the money. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bembo. Okay, we'll close public comment. Item 1, CSA 1 and H1.
Move along
Warrant
payment of the
register.
bills.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Stevens,
Aye.
Dunlap,
No.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Madam City Clerk, what's the next scheduled matter?
The next scheduled matter is a public hearing to consider the adoption of a resolution to detach the Inglewood Community Facilities District Number 2010-01 Hollywood Park project from the Street Lighting Assessment District Number 1980-1 and related actions with respect to.
Has notice of this hearing been given?
Notice has been posted.
Have any communications been received on the matter?
No communications have been received.
Is there a staff report on the matter?
Yes, the Finance Director, Interim Finance Director Sharon Koike will give the staff report, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Koike.
Thank
Welcome.
you. Thank you. Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. Tonight you have on the agenda 2 public hearings. The first public hearing on the proposed detachment of territory consisting of the Community Facilities District Number 2010-1 from the city's Street Lighting Assessment District Number 1980-1. And the second, a public hearing regarding certain amendments to the special tax for each of the 5 improvement areas established in the Community Facilities District. On December 7, 2010, the City Council adopted a resolution of intent to form the Community Facilities District, including its 5 improvement areas, and to authorize a special tax to finance certain public facilities and certain public services. On May 8, 2012, the City Council adopted 2 resolutions. The first, to consider the detachment of territory consisting of Community Facilities District Number 2010-01 from the city's Street Lighting Assessment District.
Ms. Koike, hold on one second.
Sure.
Madam City Clerk, are we to open both PH1 and PH2 simultaneously?
I thought we were just doing PH1. Did you want to do them together?
Just one?
Just one. Just we're doing PH1 right now.
Is it the same, is it one staff report?
It's the same staff
So
report.
could we open both and
Yes,
do them
sure.
simultaneously?
Sure.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
But then I would probably need to go back and read and
Okay.
go through the.
Please.
Okay. So the next, for PH2 is the next scheduled matter of a public hearing to consider amending the rate and method of apportionment of the special tax in 5 improvement areas in Inglewood Community Facilities District 2010-1 and Hollywood Park project. And notice has been given, and affidavit is on file.
Okay, and so we'll continue with the
And
staff
no
report.
communications have been received.
We'll continue with the staff report.
Thank you. On May 8, 2012, the City Council adopted 2 resolutions. The first, to consider the detachment of territory consisting of Community Facilities District Number 2010-01 from the city's Street Lighting Assessment District Number 1980-1. And the second resolution for amendments to the special tax for each of the 5 improvement areas established in the Community Facilities District. Together, these resolutions describe the authority that is proposed to be conferred upon the City Council in respect of the detachment of territory and the amendment of the special tax formulas. Both of these resolutions have set public hearings to be held tonight. The amendments to the special tax are to increase the maximum special tax authorized to be levied in each of the improvement areas to fund allocable costs associated with the operations and maintenance of streetlights located adjacent to and within the Community Facilities District, and to increase the maximum special tax to be levied for facilities in each improvement area. To include parkway maintenance as a component of the contingent special tax for park services, and to provide that the casino property shall not be taxed until building permits are issued in any of the improvement areas, and to make various non-substantial changes in each special tax.
Thank you. Is there any persons present who wish to address the council on this matter?
Gil Matthew, District 4, Mayor and City Council. Concerning PH 1 and 2, on this special tax to finance the acquisition and construction, the question is, what funding source is going to be used for that? Now, you need monies for the public facilities in public services that go along with the project. Now, I'm in favor of the project and in favor of PH 1 and 2, if in fact it's going to save the city money from the general fund. And I would like an oral report specifically to that issue, because the project completion date is unknown, and in the interim, you do need assessment to improve the area. So my question is, if in fact the city can only afford so much assessment, and then the other assessment would have to be from the new tenants. But I'd like an old report, which I'm not hearing, the separation of it, and what advantage is it to the city, and also if you're going to issue debt, then who is going to be liable in case of default, or is it lies with the project? Those are the questions to be answered, because believe me, the city is going to be okay. But at the same time, you have to be prudent and not accept more liabilities. Thank you.
Council members, I thought I could have sworn someone said that they would not have to pay tax until the building permits were pulled or granted. Isn't that what I thought I heard? So if they don't do anything for that property for umpteen years, let me see, across the street it's been empty something like 20 years. I think we can all look at the triangle over on D3, 20 years. If we aren't to get taxes until building permits are issued and building begins, or there's a certificate of occupancy, guess who pays up for all of the services that need to be done in the area? Sounds like not them. I hope I was mistaken. It is still a little bit noisy outside, so I could have sworn that's what I heard. So once again, the residents are going to be helping a multi-million-dollar supposed corporation, lighting, landscape, streetscape. Whenever I look over there, it is not as well kept as it has been until about 2 weeks before one of these meetings when they're on the agenda. Let's see, 3 weeks ago, the marigolds couldn't be seen because they were overtaken by the dandelions and the other weeds. But miraculously this week, the marigolds are just happy as all get out. Quite a coincidence, isn't it? Now maybe I'm wrong, but I could have sworn that's what I just heard, that they don't have to pay taxes till they get their permits. And guess what? I think I just told you, anyone here can call San Mateo Planning Department or the newspaper up there and find out exactly how delightful business is going at Bay Meadows, and why don't we ask them how much Bay Meadows has contributed to the tax base of that community that lost its racetrack in the same fashion as we're about to lose ours. Oh, did I mention up until now the racetrack, Hollywood Park, was paying taxes? And, oh wait, am I mistaken, or didn't Hollywood Park already give us that song and dance about Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, police station, golf course? Oh yeah, think I've heard that before, but that's way back when Paul Eccles was sitting there. By the way, all those Paul Eccles fans, did you notice Great Park isn't either?
My name is Willie A.G. I live in the beautiful city of Inglewood. you're on the right track. I support each 1 and 2. I have confidence in the leadership in this city, and I can see nothing but bright lights for this city. And all I can say is you guys keep up the good work. Don't pay the naysayers any attention, because they're going to disagree with you whether it's good or bad. Appreciate you, love you, keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor and Council, with regard to this PH 1 and 2, as you tied together, I talked to you last week about street lighting assessments in the 1st district in which I live. They've been going on forever and ever, and too much now. They're talking about this street lighting assessment and a tax for certain residents in the city that I don't know that with all the other water rate increases and other taxes that we pay in this city and get very little out of it, that people would be willing to have to go forward and pay for the installation of these poles. Who's going to pay for these poles that are going in the ground and these lines that are going to be put up and these other things that they're asking for before there's even a community there, you know. And, you know, as I said to you, and as you are getting ready to have hearings with regard to assessments in the districts, you know, and all you them care about is getting the monies, you know, to continue these assessments that we get nothing for. And I mean get nothing for with regard to the assessments in these districts. So I'm concerned with regard to these assessments and these taxes proposed for Hollywood Park, and you know that they've been talking about this for so long, you know, and you know, as Mr. Matthews said, you know, I wish you well, because if you do well, maybe this city will do better. But you know, to date, you know, all that we've heard is that you know, these things are going to happen, and I've even asked in the past, you know, what are you proposing with regard to businesses, not housing going over there, but what businesses have you got committed, you know, to come into Inglewood? At one time, they talked about Sears going into the 4th district. You know, that went away. I want to know, you know, that there is going to be something positive for me and the rest of these residents who live here, other than more housing apartments that they talked about needing last week, as many as 1,658 or whatever, which you would be helpful in, but we need more than just the housing. Thank you.
Close the public comment hearing.
I will move item 2 on PH1 and 2 through 9 on PH2.
I'll second. Speak up. Gotta speak up. I can't hear.
He moved 1 and 2. Councilman Franklin second.
I moved, yeah, all of them.
On PH1.
I moved item 2, and on PH2 I moved item 2 through 9.
2 through 9. Okay.
And I second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members.
Oh.
We will comment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. First off, I would greatly appreciate it if, not using my time, but staff should be responding to some of the comments raised by the public prior to us coming in.
Mm-hmm. Well,
if they would, please.
I don't know if she has all of them. I'll use my time and I'll ask the questions, and then they can use their time to comment. Go ahead, Councilman Stevens.
Well, can she respond?
We want me to start.
No, I mean,
okay,
the question to the public.
The overarching question was, what happens with these assessments in the meantime, since they don't pay taxes until the permits are pulled? And I think the other question was, do these assessments save the city the cost of continuing these improvements for the project area?
Can I introduce Mr. Bill Bothwell? He's our bond counsel. He's here present. He can answer the questions.
All right. You have those two, Bill.
Bill Bothwell with Ori Carrington, your bond counsel. The answer to the first question is that the assessments that are currently in place through the Landscape and Lighting District will continue until special taxes are assessed, and that means when the development time is ripe for Hollywood Park and development permits are pulled, at which point there'll be a special tax on the improvement areas within Hollywood Park, which will replace and actually increase the amount of money that are dedicated towards the current landscape and lighting improvements.
Mayor, if I may, it states very clearly here that the purpose of PH1, item number 2, it says to detach the territory from the Street Lighting Assessment District 1980-1. So if it's detached, how could they continue paying the taxes?
It doesn't detach until there's a notice from the special tax consultant, who's also in the audience, and the resolution provides that. It doesn't detach until you get a notice that property is now developed and will be subject to the special
so
tax.
it does state very clearly in one of these documents
In the
that they will
resolution.
continue paying it, because that was what the
Yes.
public asked?
Yes.
Because it appeared as if they might not.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor, for asking that question.
The second question was,
Oh, now you made me forget.
Does it save the
What
city?
what type of bonds were going to be sold?
No. The second question was, does this save the city any costs as it relates to maintaining the project area?
Well, this is a conversation that has occurred with Public Works, and it's not my understanding. I know that the Landscape and Lighting District does not support the costs of those landscape and lighting improvements in general in the city. And part of the negotiation with the developer was to increase the special tax with the development of Hollywood Park to save the city's general fund some
Okay.
money.
So these costs will be borne by the special assessment, which I assume is paid by the properties within the project area. Is that
Right.
correct? All right. Thank you.
and there will be no impact to the general fund. They're
Thank you
not
very
paid
much.
from the general fund.
All right. So now we're back on track. And I've used my time. Councilman Stevens.
Bond counsel, I have a few questions for you. Now, just for clarity, what type of bonds are we will be utilized for generating these funds?
These are called Melrose Community Facilities District bonds, and they are secured only by a special tax that is imposed on the property within the Community Facilities District, that is Hollywood Park.
Okay, so now in order to float these bonds, you're going to be utilizing, from what I've read, a vacant land assessment method of doing this. Am I correct? Under Melrose?
No, well, there's a tax formula. We won't be authorizing bonds until much.
But it'll be utilizing the vacant land, correct? That meaning that in order to secure the assessment revenue, it is not necessary for you to actually have a structure on the property, correct?
Well, there's a timing process for how the special tax is levied. Generally speaking, we won't be levying the tax until there are building permits pulled and there are property being developed.
All right, well, what date do you anticipate? There's no mention of a date, a specific date of when that will be. Do we have a specific date?
I would defer to the developer, but in general, it's whenever, obviously, it becomes feasible to go forward with development, and we all know the difficulties right now for going forward.
Yes.
But none of this will happen until development is feasible.
Well, here's my concern, and I'm very much concerned that your Hollywood Park Land Company, the entity that is developer, they will actually be collecting the assessments, correct? The
Not
revenue.
really. I mean, it's
Not
collected
really?
in the normal process of, and it's not assessment, it's special taxes.
The
and it's
special taxes, they will be collecting it
No, it's collected in the way normal taxes are collected.
through the county, but they will control it. And they can also utilize it to sell bonds, correct?
With the city's approval and going forward. Now, incidentally, it may sound like I'm representing Hollywood Park, which I am not. I'm the city's bond counsel, and I'm here really to describe how this process works.
I understand. Okay, so the bonds are, we will need to give authorization for the bonds to be sold. But now, it's mentioned about a lead agency. Since we no longer have redevelopment, does that mean that the municipality, City of Inglewood, becomes the lead agency?
The municipality has always been the lead agency in a community facilities district. That's why we're here tonight, and we're going to, if you decide to go forward, conduct an election, amending the special tax. It's all within the authority that's conferred upon the city.
Okay, so then, in a document from December 7th, as Ms. Koike mentioned, this is something that I would like to ask you in reference to, because in this document, it's a bit vague. In the document from December 7th, it states the following: the proceeds of the bonds would be used to pay for public infrastructure necessary to mitigate the impacts on the city's public infrastructure systems, upon the city's public infrastructure systems, with an S, of the development expected to occur within the boundaries of the Community Facilities District. Now, I take that to mean that Century Boulevard, Crenshaw, Penkai Avenue, Prairie, these streets would be able to benefit from this money, because it states very clearly that proceeds of the bonds would be used to pay for public infrastructure. If we go forward with what is written here, the way I'm interpreting this money is to be specifically spent only on Hollywood Park property. And so I'd like for you to clarify. Can this in fact be spent off-site, or is it, as it states clearly here in December 7, 2010, or is it site-specific where it can only be spent on Hollywood Park property?
Well, I think one of the important points to know about the way community facilities districts operate is that it doesn't come close to covering all of the infrastructure costs of development. It just covers a portion of them. And you can only tax property within the community facilities district according to the council's policies up to a certain point, which is below 2%. And that will only secure a certain amount of bonds to finance a small portion of the cost of development. So it's
Sir, I've only have 10 seconds left. I just must ask you this last question, though I have a series of others, and perhaps we can extend our time. Who will be responsible? The lead agency or Hollywood Park?
For paying debt service on the bonds?
For these bonds.
The residents of Hollywood Park
are
the only parties that are responsible for paying debt service.
And in the event of default, the land is secured. Is that an event of default? Am I correct in what I've read earlier in the package that was given to us about thick? That the racetrack itself, in the event of default, the land itself is actually unlike a regular default action with a house where you go a period of months, that is almost immediate. Am I correct with that?
There is judicial. It's what's called judicial foreclosure, and in a normal property tax, you've got a long, drawn-out process for collecting taxes if there is a default. With a judicial foreclosure, because there are bonds that are being secured by the special tax, the statute provides that you can foreclose as you would with a house and a mortgage.
So, yeah, this last question. What do the residents get out of this? I'm trying to figure out just exactly. I see obviously what Hollywood Park gets out of this. What do the residents of this community actually benefit from this? When this project was brought forward, Hollywood Park stated they had their financing. There were going to be benefits for the residents. It was going to benefit the city. 3,000 units placed there, 3 people per unit. That's 9,000 more people, more traffic, more pollution. I'm not against development. I'm just trying to understand when everything settles, bond counsel, what do the residents of the city receive? Do they receive an interest? Or what do they receive? What do they receive?
Well, let me underscore. I am not a policy maker here, but I happen to think this is a good project. But that's just me watching the project develop over time.
All right.
It generates new property taxes. It generates new sales tax. It's probably the last major infill in all of Southern California. So I think housing of this
But the taxes are going
quality-
to be spent on site, on Hollywood Park's property.
Not the sales taxes.
Or the property tax.
But the assessment tax.
The special tax that will be levied to secure the bonds, which will be more than other properties in Inglewood, mind you, will be borne just by those properties. But that will be dedicated to the infrastructure costs.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to sell this project.
That's okay, Ms. We understand that. Councilwoman Dunlap.
Yes, I actually have a general question to begin with, and that is the maximum facility special tax for developed property. Is that all-inclusive? That particular graph? If it says maximum facility special tax for developed property, all-inclusive of landscaping, park, lighting, is that all-inclusive?
Yeah, I mean, yes, we do have the special tax consultant here if you want to go
No, I
into
just want to ask
detail.
that question, unless
Right.
the answer is going to be different from what you just said. So that's the maximum, regardless of how it's divided up, whether it's the park services tax or whatever, meaning
Right,
that's
the
the total.
concept is we don't levy taxes above, and it's below 2%, but we don't, at a certain point, then it becomes
So that
a burden on the
particular,
property.
well, it is a burden already. That particular graph, when it says maximum, means all-inclusive of whatever this variety of different taxes are.
Mhm.
Okay. First off, I would like to ask staff, it states here that on item number 3 in the public hearing, it says receive and file 5 certifications of registered voters and landowners for each of the 5 improvement areas. And I don't seem to find them anywhere. Actually, in the report given to council, it says, attached is a certification from the County of LA, Register Recorder, County Clerk, establishing that there are fewer than 12 registered voters residing within the territory of subject property. There, I see no attachment. So if
They
you know
should be
that
on-
this,
I have copies, they should be on file with the city clerk.
well, right, I'm talking about what's been provided to members of this body. I'm sure that city clerk does have them, but it says in this document provided to the city council. So I'd like staff to find those, please, because I want to see them before we vote. The certifications, it says here they're attached, they're not. We're voting on it, I don't see them anywhere. So please look for them while I continue my remarks, I'd appreciate it.
Do you see them, Ralph?
Well, they're on the council's assistant staff.
No,
Yes.
I have that
Page
book.
1, page 2.
I have the book.
The attachments, what you have in your documents were the form of those documents. They were required to be filed and submitted to the city clerk before tonight's meeting. They were, and I think as part of this process, you will hear that she will certify that she has received them. She does have them.
Oh, so when it says they're attached here, they're not?
Well, what's attached here is the form, because that's what was submitted to the owners, and they've been completed.
Well, it says that with regard to the county register of voters. So that particular document from the county register is what I'm interested in seeing, from the county register of voters. But also, I have a couple of other comments. I've spoken to this prior. It's not a surprise to the representatives from Hollywood Park how I feel about this tax base or what they're doing, because I think it's so excessive on this property. I think it's going to preclude the development from being successful. Apparently I have the minority opinion up here, but that's the way I feel. Meaning that the public needs to recognize, all right, place yourself as a homeowner wanting to buy one of these homes that we're talking about. In addition, it says here, I'm assuming this is in addition to property tax, the normal county property tax. It says maximum facility special tax, which is what we're voting on this evening, is separate and apart from county property taxes, correct? Yes. Okay, separate and apart. So everyone in the audience, think of yourself as you want to buy a home in there because it's new, it'll probably be beautiful, and you say, okay, let's just say I buy a house. Let's just say it's $500,000, and I think I can afford the property taxes on that, which is a little over 1%, maybe up to 1.5%. Now, what we're doing tonight, and what we've started in the past, is added another tax on top of that. Now, that house, just with the taxes we're about to put on them here, we're approving, in addition to the property tax you might pay on, say, a $500,000 home, in addition to that. Now, you all know you don't like getting your property tax bill in December. $7,609. That's an additional tax on top of the property tax. I don't know who can afford that. I think it's going to doom this project to failure. I don't want vacant parcels in there. I want people to want to come to this city, to want to purchase these, the beautiful development, the homes. Granted, it is the last infill in Southern California, and I'd like to see a real model project going in there, and hopefully that is what Hollywood Park is doing. But I don't think we need to price people out of the market. I don't know. None of my neighbors can pay $7,000 additional tax on their property on top of their property tax bill from the county. Raise your hand in the audience if you'd like to pay $7,000 more for your property than what you pay in your county. $7,000 more. It's over, anyway, I just think we are pricing people out of this development, which makes me think it's poor planning on our part. And the certificate of registered voters, do you have that for me, Ms. Quakey?
She hasn't had a chance to.
Okay, and with all due respect, Mayor, I don't mind having these two public hearings together, but I don't think members of this body should be limited to 5 minutes total time. So,
right. Thank you. Councilman Morales?
Thank you.
A lot of good points have been made. However, I tend to fall on the other side. I disagree with some of the things that have already been said. In terms of benefits to the residents, really, because this assessment is being made, the residents that are here today in the city of Inglewood won't have to pay for that additional maintenance that needs to be done at Hollywood Park. So that's a major benefit that exists. We're doing this because this project is a solid project. It's something that is going to make that area really show the level that we can do here in the city of Inglewood. Now, when they bring in the nice parks, the nice lightings, the nice streets, those are all amenities. Those are all amenities that need to be paid for. Now, when you go and you buy a home at Playa Vista or another condominium situation that has a lot of pools, a lot of trees, a lot of parks, you pay additional fees for those things. That's what you choose to do when you first go in and you purchase a home in these areas. That's no different than what we have here. We talk about the residents that don't exist yet today. Well, that will be a choice that they will make when they decide to purchase a home in this area. They're going to go in there, they're going to decide, these are the homes that I want, these are the amenities that I want, so this is worth the price to me. That's when they tend to make their decision. For us to pretend that we can put the price on a home with that kind of amenities in order to keep the price down, that's unrealistic. How many people, how many developers in the world would come into our city and say, I'm going to build these homes, they're going to cost me millions of dollars to build, you guys go ahead and put a price on them. You can't do it. You're going to get what you pay for. Mm-hmm. And we want a first-class Inglewood, we want a first-class development, and when people want to purchase a piece of that, there's going to be a price to it. I tend to believe that we will change Inglewood with this project. And when it comes, you will see that people will want to see the city of Inglewood for what it truly is. But we need to understand that that comes with a certain process. We actually took action a while back in terms of a similar action, but we realized that this needs to be expanded, correct?
Right.
Can you describe a little bit mechanically what we did last time versus what we're doing today?
Well, what is it now, 2 years ago, 2 years and 6 months ago, I guess it was December 2010. What is it, 1 year and 6 months ago? 1 year and 6 months ago. We formed the district and we had an election and we adopted a sequence of resolutions, much like we're doing tonight. And at that point in time, there was an impression that the market would be coming back in a certain time frame. That impression keeps moving as the world economic situation keeps moving. There's no doubt that there's conviction in going forward once a developer owns property and has created this much of entitlement and development plans for a project like this. They will go forward when they can. In the process, we've concluded that the special tax
Assessment.
formula needs to be amended in various minor ways, as well as in consultation with Public Works, we need to adjust the special tax so that it is increased for landscape and lighting improvements that were formerly charged against the property through the 1980 Landscape and Lighting Assessment District, and to boost that to cover the actual real cost.
Exactly, and essentially what we're doing is making sure that it does not cost the city additional funds. That's exactly what we're doing here today. So, you know, when you're talking about a project this big, we're going to constantly see action items that are similar to this throughout the process, different ones. We're either going to choose to support this project all the way through and make sure it succeeds, or we're going to poke at it all the way through and make the project take longer, come up under fire when really it shouldn't. Either we want a project, we have a target project, we're going to help it go through. This is one of the actions that's going to help us do that. So those are my comments. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman Frank?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Let me just reflect a little bit, if you stay right there, where this body at the council on May 28, 2009, had these hearings. And the hearings was continued to June 3rd, 2009, on which it finally got introduced. And there was 11 hearings. And one of the concerns, or one of the major concerns that this council raised, is that we wanted to make sure that this project was not going to place a burden on the other taxpayers of this city. And that is why we then came up with the discussion of having the Melrose bonds to identify that the residents or prospective residents and businesses in that area would in fact incur their indebtedness or costs in order to operate. So on July 8th of 2009, the items was adopted. Now we're here talking about revisiting this because it's the developer that understands that the current special tax assessment that this city currently enforces, in this case like the light assessment, will not be substantial enough in order to sustain the project. That is why that they're having a discussion now to have that flexibility, because we and placed upon them the responsibility to be able to handle that cost, that they will in fact be able to do that with the 25 acres of green space that's going to be available for public use, but yet still the property of the ownership of Hollywood Park. The streets that normally you think of a gated community is going to be open to the public for access. And the same thing about maintaining the lighting and the sidewalks, etc. That is part of this cost that the developer is incurring, and they are responsible to make sure that they maintain it. So for us in the community that deal with the potholes in the street and the sidewalks being ajar and the lights fixtures going out, it's that development, and this thing what we're doing today is going to address that issue. Now I want to address one other item, and it has to do with of all of the structures that currently exist, when they ultimately finish the multiple phases of the project, the phase A of the project is actually the casino, on which they're doing the renovation first. And I noticed that part of the discussion talks about that this will not apply to them until after residential goes into effect. So it does say then that once residential commences, that now the casino also will be exposed to this levy?
I mean, technically it says once we have developed property, we pulled building permits, and it now in any of the improvement areas becomes developed property, whatever kind of property it is. Then the special tax is imposed against the casino rather than having it imposed earlier.
Well, they're moving the kitchen right now, so they did a major remodel to the interior. So I need clarification of what does this mean then, because, and I'll read the segment. It says, provide that the casino property shall not be classified and taxed as development property until a building permit for residential and or non-residential property is issued in any of the improvement areas. Right. So since they already now are working on moving their kitchen, and that ultimately the Cary Grant Pavilion is going to come down, and then behind is the grandstands that rest upon the rooftop of the casino, does that now trigger this item we're now dealing with? Or is it, or we have to wait till phase 3 project when they actually are going to start the actual housing component?
What I would recommend is that Shane Morgan come up and describe, technically speaking, how these definitions interplay within the special tax formula, because it's really complicated, and I think he's best to answer.
And while he's coming up, I also want the residents to also understand that the council in 2009 solidified, and I want to thank our bond counselor for being with us, helped solidify that the revenue stream that we are receiving from the Hollywood Park would not be interrupted for us to continue to receive it, even when they stop horse racing for 15 years. So, anybody speak?
Shane Morgan from David Taussig and Associates. And the building permit in question would be a building permit for new construction. So not a building permit for a renovation project. So this is for a new construction, a new residential dwelling unit, or a new piece of non-residential property.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, thank you very much, Mayor. Thank you.
Please stay there. Mr. Bothwell, here's my questions. This development, thousands of jobs estimated to spring from it. Is that correct?
That's my understanding.
Okay. 650,000 square feet of retail and entertainment. Is that correct?
That's the development plan.
Which will donate sales taxes to the general fund of some unknown amount. Is that correct?
That's right.
Property taxes, city will receive from all the properties, residential and commercial. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. Even when the track goes out of business, we have an agreement with the developers that they will continue to subsidize the general fund to the tune of 1.2 million or something a year, 1.7 million a year. Is that right? So we lose nothing even while they're developing. Is that right?
That is in the development agreement.
Okay. And so with all that, the upkeep of the parks, the lights, everything that's associated with that development, no hit to our general fund, because the special assessment is borne by people that buy and operate within the development. Is that correct?
It should be a plus. That's
absolutely. And so anyone that buys in there or operates in there, they know coming in, according to their own budget and financing, whether or not they can afford these levies. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So where's the downside for the city?
Like I said, I'm your bond counsel. Sir.
Okay, all right. No, thank you. I didn't see one either. That was facetious. But anyway, thank you very much, sir. All right. Okay. Madam City Clerk.
Council members, Stevens.
No.
Dunlap.
No.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye.
I'll introduce.
Thank you.
Consent calendar items 2, 3, 4, and 6.
So moved.
I'll second it, Mayor. Pull item number 4.
All right. Madam City Clerk.
Councilmember Stevens.
Excuse me. We're on page 2.
No, we're on the consent
excuse
calendar.
Oh. Aye.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Dunlap.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye. Item 4.
Staff report recommending adoption of a resolution authorizing an agreement with Unique Management Services, Library Division, to facilitate the recovery of overdue fines and fees.
Mayor, if I may?
Yes.
Without getting a staff report, my concern on this proposal, which as submitted I won't be supporting, is coming up with a mechanism where Unique Management Services has a flat rate guaranteed, and I got a deja vu all over again of the Redflex camera, where they're guaranteed $8.95 for services for the collection of the books, whether we are successful in collecting the books or not. And that is exactly what we went through with the Redflex camera, where they're guaranteed, regardless of how many tickets we may be able to issue, regardless of how many tickets we've been able to enforce and receive funding for. And I'm really concerned that we're giving Unique Management Services a leverage over the city, and there should be an agreement reached upon collection of that we would then make them whole. Not the fact that once staff gives them this item for collection, that the bill automatically kicks, and that's my concern.
Ms. Barnes, do we have any input on that?
Well, just in general, we based our selection on the company's experience. They have over a 75% collection rate. We've had great success at this point, and we are in a process where we can cancel this at any time. We're not locked into a 5, 10, 12-year contract with this agency.
Okay.
Well, since I still have my time, the comment was the cash amount due to the city will include a $15 processing fee to offset the cost of collection, including unique charges of $8.95. It doesn't do us any good to give them the assignment to collect this book or article when, in fact, we don't collect the $15 if they don't collect the book to help cover that. So that's my concern, and I'm through with it, man. Thank you.
I have a comment, Mayor.
Well, Councilman Morales asked him. Councilman Morales?
Couple things. First, we don't have to give them any accounts if we don't want to, right? If we choose not to send them any accounts, we don't have to, right?
Correct. Only those that are referred, and we were in a previous relationship with them, and right now we're not doing any business until we get authorization to do so.
But if we send them 10 and we don't like the results, we don't have to send them anymore.
Correct.
Okay. So that's one. Another thing is we can't lose money because they're saying if we don't collect a certain amount, they can't charge us more than gets collected, right?
That is correct.
And to be honest, this is fairly inexpensive. I'm sure you've done your research, right? I know I'll go back 20-something years when actually I was at the library. They had a collection service, and depending on how late they were, they would charge between 30% up to 30%, something like that, right? Regardless if someone
and a
overbooks
collection
or
fee
whatever.
of $30 as opposed to $15.
Exactly. So I remember. So this looks inexpensive, based on the fact that we actually don't commit to anything, and it's fairly inexpensive. We can only we won't lose anything. I'm going to support it.
Councilman Dunlap?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Actually, my colleague from the 4th District mentioned a guarantee. Is there a guarantee in this agreement or not?
A guarantee in the form of us not having...
No, a guarantee with regard to a set amount of money, right, Councilman?
$8.95.
Yeah.
We have to pay them $8.95 if we refer a client, a customer to them. We in turn...
Regardless of whether or not there's any collection made. Well, actually, I have to agree with my colleague. Guarantees get us into a lot of trouble. Certainly not. This is a small amount of money compared to the Red Flex cameras, which is astronomical. We're paying $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 a month to them, whether we collect on red light camera tickets or not. It's horrible. But any kind of a guarantee is really not a good thing. Is there any possibility that we can do business with this company, but maybe renegotiate the guarantee?
They have guaranteed us cost neutrality, and Fran, please weigh in if I'm speaking incorrectly, that if we do not collect, we do not pay.
Exactly.
So how can it be a guarantee and then if you do not collect, you do not pay? It can't be both.
Well, that's in regards to us getting the $15. The offset here is that they have the 75% rate, but it's cost neutral. So if we do not collect, they don't collect. They don't collect.
They get zero.
Mm-hmm.
That is my understanding.
Well, then there couldn't be a guarantee.
Exactly. The guarantee is a budget neutrality guarantee.
Well.
Which is the
okay.
What they're explaining.
Okay, so Ms. Barnes, here's the thing.
Sure.
Just please be assured, if you go back and do further research, if they don't collect, we don't pay. And I think that's what the council's getting at.
Understood.
All right.
Right, because there seems to be some contradictory information out, that's all.
Yes, but we have to go by what is written here, correct? So you could very well go back to your office and have your own interpretation of this document, but if the document says very clearly that the library will pay $8.95 to Unique Services for each collection account referred to them.
However, there is
the
also...
average, well, I just want to say this to you. How much is the daily rate for a book that is late?
For an adult materials, it's 20 cents a day, children's materials, 10 cents a day, and audiovisual materials, or I should say videos or DVDs, are $2 a day.
Okay, do we have as of yet a security device to detect a magnetic strip if a book walks out of the building?
No.
No, we do not. 20 cents a day. We're willing to pay $8.95.
This also includes
Guaranteed?
not just the return of materials, but also the fines and fees that have been accrued during that period. So we're being charged $8.95 by Unique. We're charging $15 to send somebody to Unique. So when a patron comes, not only do they pay the $15, and the city's also getting $6.05 back, but we will also be collecting all fines and fees that are owed. If a patron has lost their book, they also need to pay the replacement cost plus
So
a
I
processing.
just want to make sure I've got this right. So to collect 75 cents in late fees, let's say. Explain this to me.
We're not going to go after someone that just owes us 75 cents.
At what point do we go after them?
Threshold.
$25.
$25. How many days does it take to achieve that, to obtain that, to get to that point?
Well, we start out by sending over, we have 3 phone calls that we send, that we give to each patron with overdue notices, and then we also send a written bill, and that's over a 6-week period of time. After that, if the patron has not come back to us, they are turned over to collections.
And then additionally, if I may, those things that we do not recover, we end up having to replace them anyway.
Well, we're
So
replacing books anyway because we do not have a security system for the books, right?
Absolutely, and we have a replacement fund. So this is an opportunity to decrease the amount of replacement costs that we have to expend, and those monies that are recovered no longer require the replacement.
Why do we not hire? Why are we not having staff or someone do these collections? Do we have that many books that are outstanding? Why?
Yes. And we did have a collection.
Are they outstanding, or
agency.
have they just walked out the door?
Well, this is for people who have actually checked materials out and have not returned them. And we did have an agency, as Councilman Morales just mentioned, years ago, and the contract ran out about 7 or 8 years ago and was not renewed at that time.
And so I'm with a colleague from the 4th District. Guarantee? Why are we calling it? Why the wording guarantee? Why?
In terms of the no-risk guarantee?
Yeah.
Because of the budget neutrality, the fact that we will recover, there's no risk of a loss to us in investing in this process.
Okay. Councilman Morales had a little bit. Go ahead, Councilman.
It's not written. The staff report is written in a way that may be confusing. For instance, if I may, Mayor, I'm sorry
Yes.
to take up some time.
You can have
in
my
the
time.
In the second to the last paragraph, it says the library will pay $8.95 to Unique Management Services for each collection account to them, whether or not successfully collected. That gets confusing.
Correct.
Because on the next paragraph it says the agreement will include a guarantee budget neutrality. Will guarantee not to charge in collection fees more than the amount of money collected or waived. Okay, that means we can't lose money. But the reason it's incorrect is because they fail to explain. For instance, if 10 accounts go to them, and in 5 of them you collect nothing, but in the other 5 you collect $200, you still got to pay the $89.50 because you made more than $89.50, which is the cost of all 10 accounts. Okay, so that's the guarantee that they have for us and for them, which is it guarantees us not to lose any money. But the way it's written, it contradicts itself, and I believe in reading it, Councilman Franklin was correct in assessing that, but it's wrong because I believe it's what I just explained. Correct, Mr. Yeah.
But actually, it is accurate. It says what it says.
Yeah, but
it says you pay us this amount, but then if we don't collect it, you don't pay.
Right. But that's what it is. We cannot lose money, and that's the guarantee.
Okay. Right. Okay.
That's okay. Well,
Okay. Anyway, so I think we beat it up pretty good.
Yeah.
Madam City Clerk.
Would you like to make a motion to send it back to staff to simply clarify it?
It's clear to me.
It's clear to
I'll
me
make
as
the
well.
motion.
And I'll second. Madam City Clerk.
Councilmember Stevens?
No.
Dunlap?
Abstain.
Morales?
Aye.
Franklin?
Abstain.
Mayor Butts?
Aye. Sorry, Ms. Bourne.
No, it did pass.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, there's 1 no and 2 yeses.
Okay.
That's the
There
city
you go.
attorney.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Mayor, just for the record, I need to go back to PH2, and I
Sure.
just need to state for the record that we have received the 5 ballot certificates, and we will certify and execute, we will certify and declare the election results.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
All right, call to order the City of Inglewood as successor agency. Madam City Clerk.
A quorum is present.
CSA 2.
Approval of the minutes held May 15th and May 22nd, 2012.
Move approval.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Agency Member Stevens,
Aye.
Dunlap,
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Chairman Buds.
Aye. CSA 3.
Monthly Treasurer's Report for the month ending February 29th, 2012.
Receive and file. Adjourn the City of Inglewood as successor agency. Call to order the Inglewood Housing Authority. Madam City Clerk.
A quorum is present.
H2.
Approval of the minutes held May 15th and May 22nd, 2012.
Move approval.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Agency Member Stevens,
Aye.
Dunlap,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Chairman Buds.
Aye. H3.
Monthly Treasurer's Report for the month ending February 29th, 2012.
Receive and file. Adjourn the Inglewood Housing Authority. Convene the Inglewood Public Financing Authority. Madam City
A
Clerk.
quorum is present.
F1.
Approval of the minutes held April 17th and May 15th and May 22nd, 2012.
Move approval.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Agency Member Stevens,
Aye.
Dunlap,
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Chairman Buds.
Aye. F2.
Monthly Treasurer's Report for the month ending February 29th, 2012.
Receive and file. Adjourn the Inglewood Public Financing Authority. CM1.
A quorum is present. Mayor, we still have an initiative for Councilman Stevens.
No, I'm going to pull that item. I'm going to pull that item, yes.
Pull it? Okay,
Yeah,
thank
pull it.
you.
Well, actually,
CM1 was verbal report.
I wasn't there yet, but I'm glad. Thank you for letting me know you pulled it. CM1.
No verbal reports, Mayor.
Mr. City Attorney, A1.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. There was a closed session held as to CS1 closed session, personnel exemption, Government Code Section 54957, appointment of acting chief of police. Request a motion to appoint Mark Fonterrada as acting chief of police.
So moved.
Second. Madam City Clerk.
Councilmember Stevens,
Aye.
Dunlap,
No.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
No.
Mayor Buds.
Aye.
There was a closed session held as to CS2 closed session, confidential attorney-client privilege, potential litigation under Government Code Section 54956.9B1, working conditions and schedule. Discussions were held, direction was given, however, no final action was taken. There was a closed session held as to CS3, closed session, confidential attorney-client privilege, potential litigation under Government Code Section 54956.9B1, claim of Akins. Request a motion to authorize settlement offer.
So moved.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Councilmember Stevens,
Aye.
Dunlap,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye.
There was a closed session held as to CS4 closed session, confidential attorney-client privilege, potential litigation under Government Code Section 54956.9B1. Kanaga Law Firm requests motion to authorize payment of billings.
So moved.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Councilmember Stevens,
Aye.
Dunlap,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye.
CS5 was pulled. CS6 was pulled. There was a closed session held as to CS7, closed session, confidential attorney-client privilege, pending litigation under Government Code Section 54956.9A, City of Inglewood versus Inglewood Unified School District. Discussions were held, however, no final action was taken. And that concludes the reports out of closed session for this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Any verbal reports, Mr. City Attorney?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Madam City Clerk, any verbal reports?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Any verbal reports, CC1?
Oh, no, thank you, sir.
Madam City, excuse me, CT1?
Monthly Treasurer's Report for the month ending February 29th, 2012.
Receive and file. Verbal reports, Madam City Treasurer.
Yes, I'd like to give a treasurer's report for the month of February. And there's copies also on the table for those who might want to follow along with me, along with the graphical presentations of the information presented.
Your mic might not be on.
Okay, no, I'm sorry. Okay, the monthly treasurer's report as of February the 29th, 2012. Again, I just mentioned that there are copies on the table outside for those to follow along with me. The City of Inglewood funds under management was $85,325,033. Interest earnings is $33,266. The successor agency, $108,791,653. Interest for the $271. Housing Authority, $100,001. Public Finance Authority, there was $2,533,388. Total funds under management is $196,750,075. And again, there are reports on the outside table. Also, would like to point out that the bond interest rates is really quite low. There were no offerings at all in the one-year bonds. In the two-year bonds, the interest rate varies from 0.45 to 0.56. And in the three-year bond, the rate is 0.55 to 0.77. In the four-year bond, the rate is 0.85 to 1%. And in the five-year bond, the rate ranges from 1% to 1.16. And would like to point out that also purchased $2 million of bonds from Higgins Capital, and these bonds are rated AA, and it's a federal home loan bond, and it settles tomorrow in the amount of $2 million. And it's a 5-year non-call for 1 year. And thus far, I've had roughly about $6 million of bonds that have been called. However, there are another 30 bonds that may be called within the next 30 days, and that'll be a little over $16 million. Interest rates, as interest rates continue to decline, the bonds that I have that are at certain rates above, say 1.15, in all likelihood will be called. And the total funds that have been invested altogether is $46,789,150. That's current and up to date. And also, I would like to point out that the monthly rate for the state pool, which has a little bit more than $60 billion in it, is 0.36. That's the daily rate. And the quarterly rate is 0.37. So rates continue to be quite low. And we'll also just like to point out, again, regarding the federal housing program, I want to just mention that program still, much of that money has not been utilized and is more or less set up for homeowners who are unemployed and are having difficulty in making their mortgage payments. This particular program will pay up to $3,000 per month for a 9-month period, and it is advertised on the California Development website, so you can check that program out there. Again, it has $2 billion just for California homeowners, and very little of that money has been claimed to date. That concludes. Oh, I'd like to mention also, I did meet with Bank of America along with the finance director, my 2 deputies, and Jose. Forget Jose's last name, but now we met last week, and I'm sorry, we met on a couple days ago. And they did offer some reduction in rates, and also we discussed the e-payables, which I'm expecting to generate upwards to perhaps $100,000 in income, which will offset a lot of our banking charges. So I expect to get a letter from the bank within the next week or so, and I'll share that with the council when it's received. That concludes my remarks.
Thank you.
And report.
Councilman Dillon.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Actually, Madam City Treasurer, some time ago, and I don't remember the exact date. You mentioned at a council meeting that $50 million of redevelopment agency funds was transferred to the general fund for services rendered by general fund pursuits, so to speak. I'm like to know when that occurred. I don't know exactly. I mean, you just referenced it in a report some time back. So it was $50 million transferred. If you could kind of research that, I'd greatly appreciate it. And secondly, Mr. Fields, I referenced you with regard to an accounting of redevelopment agency funds. I haven't heard anything back from you. I assume you're working on it. But now, in retrospect and looking at it, I'd like to go back actually longer. I think I just said 2 years. I'd like you to go back to fiscal year 2008, 2009, obviously 2009 and 10, 10, 11, and then this fiscal year with regard to all redevelopment agency funds, the origination and how that money was spent during that time. Because we did go from approximately $240 million down to, on January 31st, $113 million. And of course, now I think it's $108 million, I believe, right, Madam City Treasurer? 108, that's what's on this report today? 108 for redevelopment?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question.
Oh, that's okay. I think it's 108. That's close enough. So when might this body be given a copy of that? I'm going to call it an audit, for lack of a better word.
Yes, Councilmember Dunlap and Council, you did make that request, and you asked for a report to come back in 45 days. Staff is planning to meet that timeline, but now with the additional information, I'll have to go back and find out if they'll need more time. But
that's fine. If you need more time, that's fine, because the accuracy and the completeness of that report, I think, is critical to this body. So thank you very much.
Yeah, and I did send you an email today. You must not have received it yet to give you an update.
Thank you very much.
All right. Any persons wish to address City Council on any matter connected with city business not elsewhere considered may do so at this time. Please come forward.
Good evening. Buenas noches, Señora Morales. Good evening, Mike Stevens. Good evening, Mayor Butts. Mi nombre es Héctor Beltrán. I wish to relate to you that this morning I called the police department, a department that I respect, and the reason being is that I wanted to speak to a detective after I have been receiving some calls from someone who claims to be calling from the Department of Justice. And rather than allowing me to speak to a detective, I spoke to a cadet who referred me to a number that was supposed to be a number for the FBI. I understand that you, Mr. Butts, are somehow related to the FBI and Bill Clinton. And so I wish to relate to the...
It's out now.
This is, I wish something, I don't know how this links, but here I am 20 years unemployed after dismissal, wrongful dismissal from the King Drew Medical Center. And now I have to deal with false claims from someone who claims to be a Justice Department. Not only also, but also issues with where I live, Thomas Safran, where they worry about me having to do with a leash on a cat before I can take it out of my unit. To me, this is awfully disappointing, and it's most like living in a police state, or like living in Russia, where I can't even get now out of my unit without having any complaint because there's so many cameras where I live. And I cannot call Safran and Associates because they make up their own versions of things. So this is the only way that I can somehow make my own version and express it here by coming before you. So there's nothing to worry about, and I hope I'm not being misconstrued as being paranoid. But this is where we stand after 20 years going through medical school. And now, instead of worrying about raising a child or family, I have to worry about my cat that doesn't have a leash before I take it to the hallway. Doesn't this sound preposterous? Thank you. I don't blame anybody. I just want you to know how things are turning out.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shannon Smith. I'm a Special Enforcement Officer. I sat here earlier and I listened to Mr. Morales speak on how he wanted a wonderful city, a wonderful Inglewood. I listened to them speak on how bringing new development would increase not only city revenue, but also bring in employment and once again, pretty much beautify the city with the new development. At the same time, a better city would keep its employees employed. And I do want to say, Mr. Mayor, I greatly appreciate the time that you allowed us, to meet. I greatly appreciate it, only so you can hear us. Now, I'm just not necessarily just speaking for the SEOs. I guess I'm just pretty much speaking for all the city workers. In the midst of keeping that working Inglewood or that beautiful city that Mr. Morales spoke on, a lot of us are homeowners here in the city of Inglewood. So with no jobs, with the potential of not having a job, I don't see Inglewood being all that beautiful. But at the same time, my main reason for being here, I'm kind of like speechless right now, only because a lot of things are going through my mind, but my main reason for being here is we want to, of course, keep our jobs. That's number one. We want to not just keep our jobs, but keep our homes. Because once we lose our jobs, we lose our homes. You don't have a job, you can't take care of your family. You can't do unemployment. That's only $400 a month, if you get that much. However, I do want to stay employed. I like working for the city of Inglewood. I've been here for a very long time, not just as an SEO, but I also just worked inside the police department. But everyone here is very hardworking, and we're understaffed and overworked and underpaid and understaffed. And we pretty much take it with a grain of salt. But Mr. Mayor, I do greatly appreciate the time that you spent. That was totally not my character. But I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, council members, I'm Aaron DeVille. I work with Public Works. I have been laid off before I was called back to work, but now I see myself being threatened to lose again an opportunity to work for this beautiful city of Inglewood. Like my constituent said, that I'm not here just to preach on me. I'm here to preach for all of the city employees that work. All of us are beautiful people, and we do love our city very much, and we love our jobs. We love working here. The main focus here today is what can we do to help you guys in maintaining our jobs and maintaining our city and keeping our residents happy. The residents come first with all the employees. If you ask any one of us, our residents come first. Without them, we wouldn't be here. To take us away from the residents, and like I am a resident also, I just can't see why we can't come up with some kind of solution. There is a solution out there that we have to come up with, that we can keep our jobs, and if possible, even hire more people to help us do our job, because we are working with a very limited crew. All of our crews are skeleton crews. I can count a handful of tree guys. I can count a handful of park and recs guys, fleet services. Everybody's working on a skeleton crew. And now street section, matter of fact, that's one of them, street section. There's a couple of guys here. There's only 5 guys taking care of that department. So, I mean, everybody's here is really pretty much busting their tails to do their job, and we do it with a smile every day, knowing that it can all be taken away from us. Outsourcing, I think, is horrible. I think that everyone suffers with outsourcing. You're going to outsource, you're going to bring in companies that they're not residents here. They work, they live somewhere else, and then they work here. Where's the money going? They're taking the money, all the cash flow, everything out of the city. It's just, I just don't see it as being a win-win situation. But we as constituents, we as employees, would love to stay here and work for this beautiful city. And we just want to applaud you once again for taking the time to listening to us. And hopefully we can come together and come up with a solution that we can keep our jobs and keep the city and the residents happy.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Monk. I'm a staff member of SEIU Local 721. I want to thank the two gentlemen behind me who allowed me to go before them. Then I want to thank our Vice President, Ms. Linda Dent, who came out to support the Inglewood workers. And after that, I want to thank the workers who stand united and stand right now. We stand behind the council and the mayor. We want to work with the city. We want to be able to establish a relationship in which every city can see that labor and management can work together. I'm also the work site organizer in Compton, where we just avoided layoffs in Compton. We worked hand in hand with the city manager, and we came up with solutions, and those solutions we'd like to bring ideas to the city of Inglewood also. Haven't had a chance to meet everybody formally, but Mr. Stevens, I appreciate you. Ms. Dunlap, I shook your hand last time. Ms. Morales, is my first time seeing you, but I'm excited about the opportunity to come here and bring some new ideas and something that can hold these workers together and hold our jobs together. The workers are ready to do whatever they need to do to support this city, to save this city, and be accountable to this city. And we would just pray and ask that you guys give these workers an opportunity to do that. So with that, again, Mr. Mayor, we'd like to thank you. I want to beat the same dead horse that Shannon beat and Aaron beat. We want to thank you for the time that you gave us last week. We met with you at length, and you've heard some of our ideas. And I want to say thank you. Thank you for at least being courteous enough to hear us, and we really appreciate that. And we really look forward to the opportunity of working with this council. So on behalf of the staff who took time out and are serious about their jobs, thank you guys. This is all for you guys. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, Council, my name is Joseph Texera, and I'm asking again that this council, including my councilman Mike Stevens, to stop allowing your council chair, the mayor, to repeatedly mislead the public with blatantly false information that covers up serious misconduct and or violations of state law by IPD and city officials, including the mayor himself. Because your silence does not protect you, but implicates you in the misconduct that the mayor helps hide. Just like the 3 Fullerton councilmen who voters kicked out of office last week because they helped hide police misconduct. On May 22nd, the council helped the mayor again. The mayor insulted all Inglewood residents by claiming that up until about a month ago, he and former Chief Seabrooks didn't even know that there were IPD tapes, where you hear me calling IPD several times about a drive-by where the victims were my neighbor's son and a friend. And where IPD officers refused to try to interview the young man, and where they told me that shooting a gun out of a car was only technically a crime, and even tried to scare me out of filing a report on the shooting. But the city's own DVDs of these meetings contradict the mayor again. First, both the mayor and Seabrooks know that calls coming into the police station are recorded and saved. Second, the DVDs show that I've either told this council that Captain Sissick played those tapes for me last September, or told them what was on those tapes at about a dozen meetings. Third, the September 20th council meeting, the DVD shows the mayor specifically referring to the same tapes that he now claims that he didn't know existed, saying, quote, the police department listened to those IPD tapes, and the chief writes, and the tapes verify patient professionalism by our dispatchers and our police officers, unquote. The mayor said that last September, so he knew the tapes existed. Fourth, the December 6th DVD shows Chief Seabrooks saying, quote, when Mr. Texera brought these concerns to our attention, we looked at it again. I personally listened to the dispatch tapes, unquote. So in December, Chief Seabrooks told the mayor that she listened to the tapes. Fifth, the April 17th DVD shows the mayor asking Captain Martin Sissick if the IPD tapes that I had requested from the city clerk existed. And Captain Sissick told the mayor, quote, yes, unquote. So in mid-April, the mayor was again told the tapes existed. So the city's own DVDs show that Seabrooks listened to the tapes, and the mayor, the council, the city clerk, city attorney, and city manager were all told about these tapes, what was on these tapes, by several people at least 15 council meetings beginning last September. So how on earth could the mayor have believed that on May 22nd, He could actually fool Inglewood's residents into believing that he and Seabrooks didn't find out about the tapes that proved my complaints until early May, because he's gotten away with not telling the truth before, with the help from IPD, the council, and city officials. Inglewood residents deserve better than James Butts.
Can I speak now?
Yes, sir.
Mayor Butts, when you look at all the mayors in the entire state, you're at the top of the shelf. And anybody who says anything but that doesn't know the quality of leadership that you and this city council bring. Now, let me be very clear. I want to thank the good people of Inglewood. On Tuesday, 20% of you voted for me and put me in a position to next year serve in Sacramento. I've got to find 7,000 people to vote for me this coming election. I recently sent you a letter, Mayor. I truly hope, with your law enforcement credentials and experience, that we do everything possible to deal with this nightmare of 196 high-risk sex offenders that this governor and the Secretary of Corrections, Matthew Cate, have dumped in this community. You go to El Segundo, there are only 5. Hawthorne, 84. Gardena, 132. But when you come over in the other neighborhoods, many of these people don't look like the primary residents. I'm not saying that they're dumping people from another neighborhood, but I know, given your history of leadership and given your capacity of management leadership, Mr. Butts, every now and then somebody's going to be unhappy with you, but don't let it get you down, because I'm not going to let it get me down between now and Tuesday, and I'm going to go to the assembly next year. Merv Evans, thank you all, because like I said, 1/4 of the people in the district voted for me. So we got plenty of time to get that other 1/4 between now and November. Thank you again for your continued outstanding management leadership that this city council brings.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Richard Aboji. I'm representing my client, and it regards the moratorium that you have on repair shops. He's been trying to get a license since 2009, and when I looked at the code and how the resolution was passed, it didn't make any sense. I was a car dealer in Inglewood for quite a while. The number of shops in Inglewood, about 20 or 30 of them. The number of cars, the ratio is just high, and many cars are coming online, which means that the old mechanics cannot keep up the technology that is coming up. So when you say no more car repairs, it means where do the residents of Inglewood take their cars? Either they have to take to the new dealership, and it is very costly. Now I can give you an example of a transmission shop. Amco cost about $4,000 for something that would cost about $900. So if you restrict entry of other mechanics into the business, it means the residents are the ones who are suffering. And the way you passed the ordinance, to me, doesn't make any sense. I don't think you thought it out that unemployment is high. When somebody goes to college and say, okay, I want to be a mechanic, I cannot operate in the city of Inglewood. It doesn't make any sense. This particular person purchased a business, 2009, he cannot get a license. He's operating without a license. So in that situation, what can he do? The only skills he has is a mechanic. He's not an accountant, he's not a general contractor, he's nothing, he's just a mechanic. All he does is his clients show up and make some money. So if you take him out of business, is he going to be unemployed or what? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. You should be accommodative to the new businesses, just like I was listening to Hollywood Park. All accommodations are given to the big companies. What about the small people? They should be accommodated. It doesn't make sense just to accommodate Hollywood Park, developers, and all those, and all those who have the money. But the small person cannot even enter and practice their skills. So I ask the council that you reconsider the moratorium that you put on car repair shops and just uplift it so that people can do what they're skilled to do.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
My name is Alfonso Parker Jr. I'm a Vietnam veteran, conscious objector at that. I was sent to Vietnam with many others. We weren't supposed to be there. My father was one. This is the Constitution. Any of you that have veterans in your family, World War II, Korean, Vietnam, even the new ones, they got a worse program for them than they had for us. Let me finish, I got time.
I'm saying that my family is also part of that.
The Veterans Administration, one case after another, we got these advocacies, these nonprofits, always helping us. They're not helping us. They're an extension of the problem why we cannot get what we're supposed to get.
That's right.
First of all, you will not find any of these here in the Constitution. They don't belong there. It doesn't speak to them. They all are supposed to be appointed, and they are, by the President and the Commander-in-Chief of the United States. They are advisory only. They don't handle money. They don't go out and resource and provide homes for you. They're advisory. These entitlements, even the churches, because they're entitlements because they're nonprofit. I'm including we got some good nonprofits. Don't misunderstand me. I'm talking about the ones that are wrong. This thing about slow pay, health care, you can't get this because you didn't go into a war zone, it's a bunch of crap. Somebody needs to charge them. I was a company clerk. I can show you how they're doing it. I've got three DD-214s. Anybody in the military? You know what that means? You can only have one. Don't that tell you there's something going on? I filed my claim in '95, and I'm still fighting them, and I can do that until they throw dirt in my face. Now, somebody needs to come. I want a TV station or somebody come see me. They do stories. They're inundating you to death right now because they're trying to get out in front of this mess. Somebody need to talk to somebody. I'm not a pundit. I'm not somebody that's speaking from fantasy land. I live it every day from the day they drafted me in '65 as a conscious objector. My experience, I'm not unique. This is what they're doing to all of us. You know you've been screwed, all of you that have been there. You just don't know how. I can show you how. All I want you to do is get with me. I don't care. You got this organization. You guys losing your homes. If the federal government, Veterans Administration paid you back your money, you don't need this job. You know how much you can have for the rest of your life tax-free? Somebody needs to get up in front. Veterans out, UCLA is going private. They're all jumping ship because they've been getting government money and they should be in jail. Now, I want to charge them with what it is. It's espionage and treason. And I'm not scared of the FBI and nobody else because I came out of Vietnam as a conscious objector. God took care of me. What the hell am I? You think I'm scared of you? Daniel walked through the den. I'm not Daniel, but shoot.
Thank you, sir. Sir.
I need somebody to get with me.
Sir.
Let's get outside in this here ambush. Come with me. You got the organization. We can do it. And you, these doctors,
Sir.
don't need nothing because that tax-free money is
Sir.
your house and everything.
You want your 3 minutes?
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor and City Council. Renald Davis, 2nd District. Some food for thought. Listen to folks who came up before me. Yeah, Fullerton, California. In a word, I wish Inglewood was like that. Apparently, just because the folks didn't like the way the council handled that situation, we voted them out, recalled them. They organized and did it. We get 7-8% voter turnout and we dance an Irish jig. But that's Inglewood. And my phrase, I've been using it way too much, Mayor and City Council, is guarded optimism. With Hollywood Park, I have guarded optimism. From the numbers, I got here late, from the numbers I dutched together real quick, selling these homes for an average of $500,000 each is the number I came up with. And right now they're about 80 homes in the Renaissance that are going to be sold at auction. They were originally $750,000. They're going for 250, 300, if that. I'm wondering, will it be in our lifetime? And I'm 51. I'm hoping to live to be around 70, 75, but it may not be in our lifetime. I'll remain guardedly optimistic on that. And then with my final minute and 16 seconds, I'm gonna try to get positive and upbeat. Los Angeles Kings, congratulations. They were magnificent. They befuddled me. I don't follow hockey a lot, but I understand what it is to be at the bottom in seeding and then blast. It just like all came together. They were the last 8 games. It was dicey whether or not they even make the playoffs. They remind me of the Warriors back in the 70s up in the Bay Area. Same thing. Barely qualified and then blew through the entire NBA playoffs. Swept Washington Bullets, swept the Lakers. But what I'm leading up to is, Mayor, I'm sure you're aware that the Stanley Cup travels. And I hope that you're going to be making an announcement soon where they come back and pay a visit to the place that was once their home. I don't know the condition inside the Forum, but it would be nice for them to come in there and raise that cup. We lost them. Hurts kind of bad now. But that's my final words on the evening. I hope everybody has a great week. Thank you for your time. Good night.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Good evening again, Leroy Fisher. A couple of points and a question. I guess I'll begin by the question. I was over here today and I picked up this pamphlet with regard to employment. And as I was here at closed session, I told you all that I was concerned about the appointment of a police chief, and I thought that it should be someone that's going to be here and represent the city well. You then had an emergency appointment today to an acting chief, but this Rule 4 of emergency appointments says, in an emergency to prevent undue delay or serious interference with the provision of necessary public services, an emergency appointee may be made for a period not to exceed 30 days, 30 calendar days, et cetera. My first question to you, if you answer it, I'd appreciate it. Is that in fact true, that appointment will be for 30 days? You know, listening to some of these people today and people concerned about losing their jobs, I'm concerned for them too, because as a resident here, you know, with this place not being open on Friday and you know, people can't get services that we need, you need to find some way to get some of these people who actually go out there and do the work for us and are here really to serve us. It concerns me that, you know, you have people coming in here and you're giving them $100,000, $200,000, you know, to represent Hollywood Park, you know, and you know, you talk about getting rid of parking enforcement people because of a $400,000 shortfall when you're going to give an individual almost $200,000 in a matter of a year and a half. So when these people come to you and say that they need their jobs, we need them, you know, more than we need some proposals for years down the road, and you them are giving our monies away to individuals that really, in my mind, are doing nothing at all for the residents of this city. So be advised of those points. And with regard to this gentleman talking about mechanical things, if you then would look at your code enforcement people, and I brought questions and concerns of mine in the 1st District about people not having businesses in here, but repairing automobiles out of their garage. And I don't know when they're going to act on that even, but hopefully they will, because that's another point that we lose money behind. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher.
Mayor, council, staff. I wasn't going to speak, but I decided, since I was here, I'd go to speak. And what I want to speak on first thing is about the consent calendar and item number 5, the public works. Transferring money from the fleet service machinery and equipment account to the fleet service special expense account, auto parts. The key word is equipment, and then you want to purchase equipment. So it don't make sense that you're going to transfer money from an equipment account over to a special expense accounts for parts to buy equipment. It just sounds dysfunctional to me. I spoke with my supervisor today, and I questioned, but it was some type of, I guess, formality that Mr. Johnson said this is the way you had to do it. It just don't make sense to me. But I'm gonna let that go because pretty much that's the way it is. The other thing I want to speak on is like the Red Flex program. From what I gather, we're spending a lot of money on this Red Flex program, and we're not bringing that money in. We're not bringing in the revenue to justify it. Surrounding cities have somewhat disbanded that program, but for whatever reason, we still got it going on, and we're not bringing no money in. To me, that's a waste of time, waste of money. I don't know whether we get a contract when it's going to end, but that's money we can save. Let's see. There's so many things going on to whereas, outsourcing this 5-year program, we're talking about outsourcing. I mean, I think what we need to do is, like I say, do some workshops, get down to brass tacks and say, hey, perform, and just because when you outsource, true enough, it may look good in the beginning, but if you look around in the end, it's going to cost you more than what you're actually spending. Now, true enough, we're talking about wages and salaries. I mean, salaries and benefits. True enough, you'll save on the benefits, but then the residents and constituents would rather see city employees giving them services than somebody from Timbuktu coming in that really don't care about the city. So, give y'all something to think about. Thank you.
My name is Willie A.G., and I live in the beautiful city of Inglewood. First, I want to say I sympathize with the members of SEIU. As a retired Teamster, I worked on a job for 30 years and went in the office one day and they gave me my check, my last check. But that wasn't the end of the world. I got out and got a better job. So all I can say is, there are better days ahead. I know that the city got some really good workers here, and I hate to see them get laid off. And if there's anything you can do, I really support it, as a union man myself. The other thing I want to talk about, Council District 1, Council District 2. I went into District 1 and District 2, and I asked 20 voters, what did they think about the form, the Madison MSG. In the first district, 18 out of 20 loved the project. In the second district, it was about 15 to 5 people that approved it. I did that because I don't think the people in District 1 and District 2 are really representing their districts. And I think when they're up for re-election, the people will show them. How can you vote against something that's going to be good for this city? The revenue that these entities it's going to bring into this city is unbelievable. Hollywood Park and MSG, Madison Square Garden. You have to build in order to keep a city alive. You want it to die, you know, just like, example, Watts, Compton. You can do nothing. You can do nothing and just sit back and see it die. Or you can get out there, like the three of you. Look here, you represent this city, I think. You represent the citizens in this city. And I commend you for it. And all I can say is keep up the good work. SEIU, keep your head up high.
Good evening, council members. My name is Diane Sombrano. I live in the city of Inglewood that used to be beautiful and was the former home of the Lakers and the Kings and Daniel Freeman Hospital and a thriving downtown Inglewood. Oh, and what was the best school district in the entire state of California. But that was a while ago, a really long time ago. To those gentlemen who were here from SEIU that were so helpful at the Adobe barbecue, I definitely want to say thank you. We had well over 250 guests who decided to do our beef and chicken, a truckload of other folks who were vegetarians and who just came for the entertainment and the tours and had a really good time. So to all those residents who came, I want to thank you, invite you again next year, second Sunday of June. And we look forward to seeing everyone at our September fiesta. Now, having said that, I got to tell you, I really appreciate it when someone goes ahead and says, you naysayers are always against everything. Let me tell you what I spoke out against, and let's see how well they worked out for the residents of the city of Inglewood when everybody told me I was crazy. Yep, D3 is still a tumbleweed site. There's that senior center that was demolished, and I said, maybe we should build one before we demolish the old one. Guess what? Still torn down. Great piece of empty dirt with not anything except weeds on it. Thank you, Mr. Agee, for pointing out the Home Depot that we did not pay for to go in on the other side of the street, because I called their headquarters and said, you want to see how ugly I can make it sound? That you come to our community, big company that you are, and I'll call you, what was it? Parasites. They moved across the street, not at our expense. There's that wonderful Main Street project with those railroad tracks that brought the future of our business into downtown. Anyone tried to shop there recently? But we paid not once, but twice extra money because y'all thought I was crazy that there weren't train tracks under there. But then again, I know history. My list goes on. I spoke out against that police station, the one that never was, the golf course that lasted 6 months, the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion that never became, all for the great and glorious casino, the solution to our economic issues. Then there's that fabulous $8.3 million bus terminal that was supposed to have how many buses? Oh yeah, kind of like one every 60 seconds. Didn't happen, did it? And then you all voted for those imperial partners, even though there was a business in business with already employees, and you said, we don't want them, we want our buddy. And of course, there is that fabulous Renaissance project, and how many of those are foreclosed? I guess for a naysayer, I have a pretty good crystal ball.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and staff. My name is Aldine Sly, and I'm from the 1st District, the best district in Inglewood, with the best city councilman that we have ever had. So I'll make Mr. Agee's little diatribe, I'll correct that for him. Someone told me that all a contractor has to do is go to Inglewood. It's like an ATM. All you have to do is go present a little project. Yeah, here. How much can I get back? And I know you get the gist of what I'm saying. Inglewood was beautiful. I agree with that. It was. But now we have no plan. And I think there are certain councilmen up there who are only puppets for a greater group of people who want Inglewood back. Gentrification is being built right now. Gentrification means those who were here want to come back because this is a centralized city, 15 minutes to anywhere you want to go. Valuable property, huge lots, and they want it back. Why don't you consider repairing what's wrong in Inglewood instead of trying to build new things? Fix what's wrong here now, then build later. That property's not going anywhere. The people who work here, they need to stay here. They live here. They pay taxes here, which our taxes are astronomical. But why are you getting rid and laying off our employees and then going to contract in someone else who won't care about the city, as someone else said before me? Do you have a real plan, or are you following somebody else's plan? Because that's what it sounds like to me. I haven't been to these meetings for a couple of weeks. I had other things I had to do. I hadn't planned to talk this evening, but Mr. Agee got my dander up, talking about District 1 and 2 representatives of our districts. We have the best. They ask questions, they inform us, and they try to do the right thing. And they're not I against what the community wants. They ask questions and they make us realize there's something behind all of this, and we need to know what it is. So stop and think, because although you're sitting there drawing those large paychecks, it's going to come and bite you where you don't want to be bitten.
Viola Gardner from District 1, and AG, as he calls himself, really stepped on my toes tonight. Mr. AG should go back to Alabama picking cotton.
Miss Gardner, we're not supposed to refer.
Well, he
audience
said
people.
some very ugly things.
I understand, but
well, he should have been called on. He
Gardner,
should be
just
told
address the
to stay
council.
to the subject up here rather than talking about council people and people in this audience. I've lived here 51 years, so I have seen a lot of changes. It used to be a beautiful city at one time, years and years ago, but it's been destroyed, and willfully so. It's been destroyed. There was a time when we did have Sears, J.C. Penney's, wonderful businesses, movies you could go out to. Find a movie house now. Go down Market Street, it's nothing but a swap meet. When I had my sister-in-law here, she said, Viola, where's your downtown area? I'd like to go shopping and look at, I said, honey, you don't want to go shopping there. At a swap meet. That's all Inglewood has. We went to a movie. Could we go in Inglewood? No. We had to go to the bridge. And don't talk about Compton and some other towns. Inglewood's twice as bad. Twice as bad. And one of the most pleasurable things that I had to help community is when Mike Stevens alone, He wasn't on the council. He had no idea or ambition for politics. We asked him to be there, and we liked the questions that he asked. His voice is cut off many times. And Mr. Morales, you know, you're a good filibuster. I'm angry. And I want you to know I'm angry. And I hope that it spurs you, and I doubt that it will, I know it won't, to make some changes. You've made too many mistakes, too many bad mistakes that have hurt Inglewood deeply, from the workforce, the community. You're destroying them, putting them out of their homes, out of their jobs.
Ms. Gardner.
That last was good enough.
Thank you.
Gil Matthew, District 4, Mayor and City Council. I'm very optimistic about this city is going to survive because it's come through worse things before. I've been here over 50 years. I've seen worse than it is now, financially. So we're going to be okay, but it's going to take some work, and it's going to take some professional financial people on board. Here you have the successor agency. Now, you've sent a lot of obligations to be okayed and paid through the new way of paying the bills. Now, my question is this. You need a meeting to be transparent as to where you are, because you can send in your recognized obligations. Now, the ones that's disapproved has to be paid for the general fund. Now, you have an overload of consultants. And I noticed just 2 that you sent for recognized obligation payments, which were refused. And now you have to pay it from the general fund. And it's totaling almost, let's see, 8,000 and then 3,100. But now this is coming from the general fund. You sent it in, it was refused. I'm hoping and praying that you have enough money when these obligations are refused that you can pay from the general fund. So we need a meeting strictly concerning the redevelopment agency that's now the successor agency. And all of the revenue now is property tax revenue. Now the school's going to benefit because the monies you've been withholding is going to go to the schools, which it should have gone before, the pass-throughs. Plus now you have property tax revenue. The school's going to benefit. Now you have Time Warner. It's a disaster. I just disconnected mine. The service is horrible, and I would recommend every resident in the city of Inglewood that has Time Warner disconnect it, bring it back, and tell them shove it. It's not worth anything. Now, this is the 3rd quarter. In 2 weeks, we have a completion of the 3rd quarter. Now, where is the money? You're going into the 4th quarter. Now, if you don't have the money, you're going to have to roll it over to the next budget.
Mr. Matthew, for time.
And thank you, but please have the meeting and have a town hall meeting so you understand what the residents are saying. The people that should be here are not here.
Thank you, Mr. Matthew.
Good afternoon. I have 2 complaints. Ethel Austin, City Clerk, could you please adhere to this one? We have a problem on Albervada and La Brea. It's an express car wash there, Morales. And every time I go there, it's different people. I just purchased a car, right? They're there as tearing up cars. Instead of telling the people that the car cannot go through that wash, they bent my whole bumper, my whole brand new bumper, $700. But then when you go back and then try to find a person, you can't find the owner. Everyone is an owner. Something has to be done because the people steady going in there, which I never will, but either it must be closed, no license is posted, I don't know who owns it. City Clerk, could you please help me find out who owns this express car wash so I could place a lawsuit against them? Second thing is, problem is the Sizzler, District 1, Mike Stevens. I want to know one thing. Did you give the valet people any valet license? Do they have license to park people cars? Why are they parking cars and the lot ain't bigger than this room? Plus the food, 6 of us went there and got totally ptomaine poisoning. So now you coming in with MSG, you need to clean that Sizzler. Go in there and clean it. It's nasty. The salad bar is filthy. And a valet, give me a break. I wouldn't give nobody my keys. They don't have license to valet park a car. And another thing, people, about Agee. He always striking and leaving. But you got to remember one thing. When the mayor's giving him plaques after plaques after plaques, he was in World War X in 1930. Okay? So he honors him like he the president of the United States. So naturally, he gonna bootlick him, okay? So don't even trip on that. He the one you don't pay attention to because all he doing is kissing up. That's what I want to say about him, since he want to run and leave. And for us, the union, when it come down to this union, I hope you don't take this for a joke. You got 7 administrators that you paying over $2 million for what? And you talking about getting rid of somebody and MSG coming in? I already know Ralph ain't going against the union, but I swear to Jesus, you get rid of this union, you won't be sitting in that seat long, brother. Because that union is not represented by just us black peoples. They're represented by white peoples.
That ought to get it. Good evening, you guys. Lynette Lewis, District 4. One of the things that all has been kind of said tonight, I would hope that some of this stuff would be taken very seriously. One of the things that we need to do, and I'll direct this to Mr. Chairman there, is that we have not been allowed to actually talk about anybody on that dais, district, or anything. You do not direct your comments to people on the dais. That needs to stop. We need to deal with being professional in here. People, everybody has their own ideas, their own comments and stuff to say, but I mean, that needs to stop. We need to stick with that. The other thing, I would hope that we would look very, very hard at keeping our residents in this city, particularly those who pay taxes. They work here. We need to look at families and what have you. So often we're looking around the country and they keep saying that the jobs situation is really, really bad. They keep talking about the president is not drawing any more increasing jobs in the area, and here we are laying off people. I think that we need to kind of look at this, these people. I know that some people have to lay off, but I think that there are adjustments that has to be made, and adjustments has to be made at the top and come down, and being able to see where you can fit people into slots. Because I'm telling you, we got a lot of, we are very top heavy when it comes down to the jobs. We're very top heavy, and none of you out there that's sitting there is going to go out there and sweep a street. You're not going to cut a tree because you don't know how. And one of the things of it is you need to understand that these people are necessary.
And I would certainly hope that you would take everything that has been said here into consideration and really deal with it, because I'm telling you, it's going to get we're going to have a long, hot summer because some changes that are coming down, and we better listen to the people as to what is going on. Thank you.
Hello, Inglewood family. Well, Bill Widener. Shall I be a nice guy or no? No, it doesn't matter anyway, because you're going to do what you're going to do. Just before I came down here, I got a notice in the mail from the city here for a broken window, and if I don't fix it, it's a $100 fine. So just for out of curiosity, I called Inspector Washington and talked to him, and I told him, well, I'm in that sound installation area, and I'm all signed up for it and everything, and I just really didn't see much need in replacing the window at the time. And we're also, the city knows about it, but we're also trying to get some funding and stuff so I can do some of the other stuff that's got to be done before the sound installation can be done. And boy, he was talking all the time in between. It didn't ever go, I didn't ever get through to him, so I don't know what's going on. He wanted to be heard more than he wanted to listen. So sometimes we as individuals have to learn to listen to what other people got to say too. I heard old Willie in that. I get a kick out of him, but some people get it too serious. But every one of you have done something worthwhile since you've been here. I've got to say, give the credit where credit's due. And Mike, as a newcomer, he's done pretty good. He needs to learn to tone down on a couple of things, but that's the way that goes. And Judy's made everyone keep looking for money and our financial problems and stuff, because if Willie, he's not listening to this, but I hope someone gets back to him. If he remembers right, we were in the black, remember? We were in the black, and Judy kept saying, oh, no. And I thought, what's wrong with that crazy old broad, So anyway, it turns out that they hadn't had an audit in 4 years. Any nonprofit organization has to have a profit audit every year, So just because someone isn't likable for one reason or another doesn't mean that they're not really doing their job, whatever it is. And I know Mike wants to get out of here. He's got his beautiful ladies with him, and they're really being patient. And I love seeing his family, I raised 4 of my kids and 4 other kids in this city also. And I know some of the problems we run into. And I'm out of time, and good night.
Thank you, Bill.
My name is Dean DeHane. I work for the city of Inglewood. Mayor and council, thank you for having us here. I have a couple issues that I would like to discuss. One of them is at District 2 at Edward Vincent Park. It was negotiated about having AfroTurf put on the soccer fields. A few months back, we took all the irrigation out so this project can get started, and it was frozen. For some reason, the council and the mayor froze that project. There's another project that they already have. They have licensed people to build these new playground equipments in all of our playgrounds. We have approximately about 5 dumpsters that are like 48 feet long, probably about 8 feet tall, that's filled up with all of the playground equipment that's already been bought, that's already been paid for. And it's just sitting at the city yard. And that was already pushed aside again. And all this stuff's already paid for. Now we're coming into July. By July 4th, this could have been already done. All of these playgrounds could have been built and already set up for our kids. The playgrounds that we have now, we've got holes under the slides, approximately 2 feet. We've got, we're taking swings down because it's becoming a hazard. I'm very passionate to what I do. I work out with the public all the time. I work for in the center dividers. I take care of libraries, preschools, Lock Haven, and it's a lot of work out there, a lot of work. And if you cut us, I'm doing enough work for 2 people, and that's the God honest truth. Let us know what we can do to please help you so we can help you. We have a solution. We know how to help you save some money, cut some corners here, cut some corners there. Please come and talk to us. We have an open door policy. We have ideas. Please come and ask. If you don't ask, closed mouth don't get fed around here.
Close public comment. Any council comments? Councilman Stevens.
Yes, I would just like to say thank you very much, Ms. Sly and Ms. Gardner and others, and Bill. Well, Bill and I, we rode the MTA Express bus together all the way out to Pasadena and even into North Hollywood, I remember, with my family. And so, Bill, thank you for the kind words. Ladies and gentlemen, I would just like to address a few issues. Express Car Wash, that is in my district, and we will be on top of that to find out who the owners are. I know they do have a mailbox on the La Brea facing, and there is an office there too, but I will find out who the owners are, and I'd like to speak with you afterwards to find out specifically if we can get you reimbursed for the damage to your car. Also, in reference to the Sizzler Restaurant, the reason why there is valet parking, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure many of you have wondered this, it is because of the negative impact that it has upon the residential streets that surround the Sizzler Restaurant. And so what the city decided to do, and what Sizzler actually volunteered to do, was establish a free valet parking service. It's up to you to give them a gratuity. And what they do, then they park the car vehicles on Sundays at the Midas Muffler shops. In reference to their cleanliness, that's a health department issue, but what I would suggest to everyone is that whenever you deal with one of those salad bars, make absolutely certain that you use napkins to hold those tongs, because the person who preceded you, he may have had a cold, and, well, it gets a little gross, right? And then picked up those tongs. But it's a good practice to do that, because then what happens is you touch the tongs, you place the salad on board your plate, you then sit down to eat, and of course you may touch your mouth, and there you go. So we have situations such as that, but that is a high-volume Sizzler, which pays quite a bit of sales tax to the city of Inglewood. In reference to Edward Vincent Park, we are in the process, the city is in the process of remodeling the parks at Darby Park, as well as also Edward Vincent Park. And we are in the process of repairing those holes in the rubber that is beneath those slides. So thank you very much. In reference to, ladies and gentlemen, the people that you see here tonight with the purple shirts, the big issue here is our parking enforcement. And maybe you're not familiar with this, but we may have to farm out our parking enforcement. In my mind, it's a separation of about $300,000, and it really actually is less than that. I'm willing to sit down and speak with you. I have no problem with that. But I just want the residents to understand this, is that my big issue dealing with the Hollywood Park project this evening, I just want to say this to you, is that when we start dealing with, I'm going to read this to you very quickly, and it's from the document from December 7, 2010, my predecessor. It states very clearly, it says that the this community facility district, by adopting its resolution of formation and to authorize the issuance of bonds by adopting its resolution, deeming it necessary to incur bonded indebtedness. Bonded indebtedness. So the question becomes, since we're the lead agency, are we in fact incurring bonded indebtedness? And the fact will be yes, because we're vouching for this. It's right here. The other issue happens to be in reference to public infrastructure. So these are my concerns, and that the proceeds of the bonds would be used to pay for public infrastructure necessary to mitigate impacts of the city's public infrastructure systems of the development expected to occur when the boundaries of the community facility district, within the community facilities district. Outside of the facility was what was voted upon back in December 7, 2010. This document here, I'm concerned because I do not see that. You see. So I'm going to conclude with that, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much for honoring Ms. Alicia Little. And I just want to say to you, sir, that I look forward to working with you in reference to the many issues that we discussed in reference to Time Warner and onward and upward. And thank you, colleagues.
Councilman Dunlap.
Yes, thank you. Several residents mentioned with regard to the red flex, red light cameras. Since 2009, I've been attempting to get that contract overturned. Unfortunately, we're not able to do that. If we could have done it, we would have done it by now, because I don't think there's any member of this body that's happy with it. It's costing us money, but apparently they did a good job with regard to their negotiation at the time, and the contract is pretty much ironclad. I want to make a comment, Mr. Fields, with regard to the swimming pools at Vincent Park, which, by the way, is in District 1. It was referenced it was in District 2. It isn't. It's in District 1. And that is the swimming pools should be open from Memorial Day weekend on. It's not. It never has. And it's ridiculous because thousands of people go to the park on the Memorial Day weekend, and they expect to swim, and it's all locked up, and that's just craziness. I mean, what are we doing, locking up, keeping our pools locked? I can remember, I mean, there was a time when it was in District 2, and one particular Memorial Day, I would go and visit the park and walk around, and I thought, oh my, the city's finally come to its senses. They've opened the pool on Memorial Day, because there must have been 200 people, adults, children, swimming, having a great time. Until I looked around and I observed there was not a single lifeguard there. Then I realized, oh my goodness, all these families climbed over the fence to get in to swim. It was a beautiful day. They wanted to swim. They just climbed over the fence, which had to be dealt with, of course, because there's a tremendous liability issue for the city. But the point is, sometimes the people get it right and we get it wrong, meaning that a swimming pool at our large regional park should be open beginning with Memorial Day. That's when people go and they have a wonderful time. They picnic and they want to use that pool. So we need to, budget crisis or not, we need to seriously look about having that pool open for Memorial Day weekend instead of keeping it closed. I also want to make some comments with regard to the RFP for traffic enforcement. The people who came here this evening from SEIU were talking mainly about traffic enforcement division. Mr. Fields, I have not seen the language in that RFP, and I do not want that RFP to go out until it's brought back to this council, placed on the agenda. If you want to put it under as a council initiative for next week, then you go ahead and do that, because I want to review it. I want to make sure that in that RFP that our bargaining unit, that division, is given an opportunity to bid or give as they requested of us. I don't want an RFP going out that would preclude our employee participation because of concessions or upfront money that would be impossible for an employee group to do. So once again, either you bring it in to this council, or you put it under my council initiative so that I will have an opportunity, specifically myself, to review it prior to going out, and there can be some public discussion. Because we made a commitment to our employees that they would have an opportunity to present a proposal, and I want to make sure that the RFP that goes out truly gives them that opportunity to submit a proposal that would be competitive. Thank you.
Councilman Morales.
I'll start with the pool. I agree, Memorial Day, absolutely should be open. Quick question, the gentleman brought up the AstroTurf. That's definitely a project that's years in the waiting, and maybe a year back, we finally saw the funds come through. We approved them. I'd like an update on that because he's right, and actually they took the irrigation out early on, and nothing's been, I know some studies have been done in engineering, but other than that, you know, you can bring us the update. Now briefly with our employees that are here, we appreciate every time that you come forward and you give us your points. I've been one that is also open to meeting, as always. David is always giving us a call. Let us know. It's going to come down to resolving the budget crisis we have. We've spoken, you know, as long as it makes sense to the city, it's a step that we'll take. It's good to see that the employees are taking a look at the budget for what it is. So many times, you know, we hear unrealistic views. There's a lot of issues to that. There's a lot of steps that need to be taken in order to resolve it. Open to the conversation. If it becomes a real response to the needs of the city, then that's the direction. You know, this council will never be afraid to take that step. The problem is that those are real issues we have. And if we can find some real resolutions, you know, that's a conversation I'm always open to. So thank you again for being out here.
Councilman Franklin?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. First of all, let me thank the employees for being here this evening. You set the tone of the meeting for tonight and what this council needs to do prospectively. I like my comments made by Councilwoman in District 2 about the RFP. For those that supported it, I think it's critical that we as a body are given the courtesy of its content before it goes public, and then determine whether or not you really understood what you voted for. I think that's critical. I think it's also critical that when you're hearing these employees that can keep talking about the workloads, how much longer can they continue to workloads with the kind of stress and demand that's on them when they're claiming they're doing jobs for 2 employees and maybe more. I'm really concerned. And so there was compassion tonight with action, compassion to action. And I think it's critical of this body that we recognize that we need to do a clear assessment about what kind of impact it's going to have into the climate of the job force with the city, having contract employees working side by side with city employees, and those contract employees using city equipment and facilities without being supervised by city employees. I have great concern for that. On a positive note, I do want to thank Mr. Fields for the staff in the citywide yard sale. It was outstanding. They actually sold out of booths. They had 151 booths, and when I was there was a avalanche of people coming and going with the wares, and the whole purpose was to recycle, and I think was very effective, along with other organizations there that would receive the items that you did not want to take back to your homes. They would be willing to take them and then provide it to other communities for use. And then also the new item, which was a big hit, was the shredder, the shredding company that you could come and bring any of your documents that you wanted, and they would shred it right there in front of you for security. And then finally, I want to thank also on Saturday Commander Sherrod Conyers of VFW Post 2122, because he reached out with his comrades and had a large picnic event right there at Ed Vinson Park. So that way the comrades could reflect about issues of life, and more importantly, that they had their families with them in which they could celebrate. And so it was a win-win. And so, again, I just want to identify that it's critical that we have a community of unity and a community of, and also a unity with this council. Thank you and good night.
Okay. Mr. Banks, thank you very much for everybody that came out. Thank you for coming to meet with me, and we look forward to further talks about how we can make our operation more efficient and more effective. I disagree, though, with any suggestion that we're supposed to constrain the options that people would bring to the city because we might be afraid that they may bring too much money. We have the responsibility to know exactly what the city's options are, particularly in the budgetary situation that we're in. We have unfunded liabilities looming in the future because of our employee health plans that are paid into perpetuity for an employee and a dependent once they retire from our city. This is not a zero-sum game. It actually is a zero-sum game. We have to look at everything. So if we receive an offer that provides a large sum of money to the city and we choose not to accept it, that's one thing. But to attempt to preemptively constrain any option that might be provided to the city, I don't agree with that. I don't think that that's responsible to the residents. So I would be against trying to micromanage staff and saying don't allow certain options to be presented to us. I don't think that's right for the residents. I want to close the meeting in the name of Mr. Austin Glenn Jr. He passed away on June 2nd. He lived on 7th Avenue. He's a longtime Inglewood resident. I also wanted to praise staff for the Inglewood yard sale Saturday. It was probably the biggest that I've seen the event in the time that I've been here, and I want to compliment them on the community camaraderie that actually comes from that event as well. And we're adjourned.